Welcome to the Wealth Guide podcast. Today, we're excited to be joined by Julian Mattatia, General Manager of Sales and Marketing for MoneyQuest Group, and Matthew Phelps, State Manager for New South Wales ACT at MoneyQuest. Julian, a seasoned leader in the mortgage broking industry, will share his insights on the strategies that have proven effective in attracting and retaining top talent across Australia. We'll also delve into how mortgage brokers can leverage social media to grow their business, the challenges facing those transitioning into mortgage broking, and how building relationships with financial planners can accelerate business growth. Matthew, as the New South Wales ACT State Manager, will discuss his vision for growth in his region, the unique challenges faced by brokers in New South Wales and ACT, and the core principles he applies to drive business development. He'll also shed light on key trends shaping the mortgage broking industry and how brokers can differentiate themselves in a competitive landscape. Whether you're a broker or simply interested in the mortgage industry, this episode offers valuable insights from two industry leaders. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. So thank you, Julian. Thank you, Matthew, for joining me. Matthew, I was hoping we could start with you as New South Wales ACT State Manager. What initiatives, focusing on growth and new business, what specific goals do you have for your region?
So for the region of New South Wales ACT, specifically for the group, we should have a greater percentage of brokers within the state relative to the number of brokers that are out there. So for me, I've kept it really, really simple, and it's quite literally onboard 5 new bodies a month, be it in aggregation or in franchising, as well as try and maintain and connect and grow with those RTOs, like-minded partners like Ryker Capital, bankers that I know in the industry, previous people that I've employed in my past, be it with broking or in banking, as well as maintain some good relationships that are existing with the group via TAFE New South Wales, as well as some of the more known groups like Mr. Mentor and Entry Group, as far as those people who offer Cert 4 and diplomas as well.
Yeah, awesome. Do you find any challenges in particular that are different for New South Wales ACT in comparison to the other states?
So specifically for this state, the number of brokers that exist within New South Wales represent 37% of the entire population. So it's a hyper-competitive market. It's a really established market. So as such, you've got to make sure that you are on point with your value proposition, and you're always consistently communicating with these people and giving them and creating that value as well.
In particular, if as part of the value proposition, what would you say that the referral partnerships play, maybe specifically in terms of financial planning as well? What do they play in terms of adding that value proposition, particularly between the relationship between a mortgage broker and the client? How does that play in the grand scheme of things?
Look, I think I'd speak to relationships that may benefit a mortgage broker as far as their business. So as of late, I've had a lot of new entries or people that are coming into mortgage broking, not necessarily from banking, and they're wanting to understand what the industry's like. So I've made good connections with both FBAA and MFAA and made those connections or those introductions via email to say, look, there are people around to sort of give you guidance in the industry, to give you understanding of what it is and what it's like. Conversely, for people that are maybe trying to grow out their mortgage broking business and they're looking to come and join us, I've said, look, we've got various partners that we work with, be it RTOs, as far as if they're looking to grow or mentor or find someone new to bring into their business, or as such, if they're looking to find a value add proposition in the form of offering a service or a partnership with someone like Ryker Capital.
And one of the things that I've seen Matt really do well is talk about the service offering. And obviously when I sort of referred our broker to Matt, I think one of the great things Matt did was sat him down, sort of understood a bit about their business, but also sort of found the gaps and opportunities to go, well, look, what are you leaving on the table here? You've got all these other significant opportunities that us as a group, we can offer you, which will allow you to enhance not only your revenue, but also your client value proposition, which will sort of set you apart from other brokers. So that was some of the fantastic work you did, Matt. Thank you.
And I feel that's part of the value add as an aggregator as well. When you step into an aggregator as a mortgage broker, to have those relationships in place that are ready to go. And as a result, you're with that aggregator. So you're automatically a trusted part of that group, if any.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think you've got to have the mindset as a business owner in this role, because it's not just about how we support you from a back office point of view, operationally, our brand, all those types of things. And we do that very well. I think it's how are you going to create value for this business going forward?
Look, we might step over to you, Julian. If any, what strategies have you found are most effective in retaining and attracting talent, particularly within the MoneyQuest group?
It's interesting. So on the attracting piece, it's a very competitive space. There are lots of aggregation businesses out there, and we started off as a boutique aggregator. We're actually out of that now. So we're over 500 members in our group, so we don't qualify as a boutique aggregator anymore. So we're competing now against the large aggregation businesses, but we still very much have built the business, very strong culture internally, a skill set. Hopefully you heard from Paul Wright, I look at him as our head trainer, if you like. He's got an experience of $1 billion broker. He's coaching and guiding our members on how to build their businesses, which is quite unique. So we've built out a team that can provide value for our members that are joining. So that's a unique offering that I would position as what we do at MoneyQuest. That can help attract. Obviously, having a great sales team, working with referral partners, no different to a brokerage. A brokerage needs to have referral partners to have customers coming through. We do a similar thing. On the retention side, again, the culture that we have within our organisation is well, I'd like to say unique, but we foster a very nurturing, we're communicating, educating regularly. We have our operating rhythm. We do fortnightly compliance sessions, fortnightly business coaching sessions with our CEO, business development workshops, and the list goes on. We do a lot for our members. And in addition to that, everyone operates differently, and understanding what a business is trying to achieve. So it might be that they want to get some quick growth. So they want to look at acquisitions of books. So we'll help fund those acquisitions. We'll help do reviews on the contracts. We'll help do loan book analysis. So these sorts of things, I would say are somewhat unique. I wouldn't say every aggregator would go to that level, but we do.
Julian, very interesting point that you brought out about culture. Look, obviously, I'm privy to that culture because as being one of the sponsors, you've maintained to sort of keep that relationship as a one-on-one relationship with a lot of other brokers and sponsors like us. How do you do that?
It's hard work. It is hard work.
When do you sleep then?
not very much. But end of the day, having a really good team as well helps deliver that to our members and also to our sponsors like Ryker, who are a fundamental partner in our business. And when we get feedback from our members that go, a few, Ben Walker going, oh my God, Ryker, they just did this amazing result for my customer. And we get that feedback, it just drives us even further.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I wanted to touch on a couple of things there, especially mortgage brokers knowing that their aggregator has a vested interest in their success, whether it be mentorship or education or legal assistance or book funding, whatever it is, knowing that they have a vested interest, I think is paramount to attracting and retaining talent, because we talked about a little bit before about having that sleep at night test. As a business owner in the mortgage broking industry, knowing that somebody has your back as well. I wanted to ask maybe, Matthew, what are some of the core principles that you feel that people should apply to their business development in either a B2B or B2C environment?
I think you've got to be your authentic self. I mean, you can't, gone are the days of being really corporatized, and there is access to information, especially about aggregation. So I think right now you've just got to, one, get these people to believe in you, but obviously two, believe in the brand and the business that you are trying to promote. And obviously you can't do that unless you know and are pretty close to the culture. But also you've got to create that value add for these people. So it's not always about what's in it for me, as in I go out there and I speak to a business and say, look, come across to MoneyQuest. They're wanting to know why, how, what, who you are, who are the people within the business, and how we're going to fundamentally help them grow and support their business going forward.
Does it differ between B2B and B2C environment in terms of what value that you're adding, particularly for us as referral partners or sponsors, or even if you have a client that comes in to speak to a mortgage broker, does the value add differ?
I think the value add doesn't differ, but I think the quantum or how you go about the support may differ. So with larger groups, they may want to have individualized training sessions, or let's say they've got contracts that they want specific sorting clauses in place, or they want to understand who else is in the group and how can they maybe partner with them to grow their business. Whereas on an individual level, a lot of the time it's, is there someone to pick up the phone, or if there's an issue with my accreditation, can I get support to expedite that. So it will vary as far as how the conversation is placed, but it won't vary as far as showing that there is the value in the support that is there to ultimately help these people through.
And nowadays, mortgage broking is a very competitive space. We talked about the market share being over 70%. What value add do you think mortgage brokers can provide to differentiate themselves from other mortgage brokers in the industry?
I think it's a hard question in a sense that every mortgage broker will have their relationships, or they'll have certain connections with subcultures, or be accustomed to a certain skill set, i.e. residential or commercial. So as such, my opinion or what I suggest is stick with what you're comfortable and what you know. And if that works, then great, go with it, because it means that you're passionate about it. It means that you're going to be successful at it. If not, then turn to people within the industry to work out what do I need to do to either get out of my comfort zone or work out how to be a differentiator. And a lot of those people are now starting to come on social media and do certain posts. A lot of people are starting to say that they're specialists in first home buyers. That sort of aspect is where you'll find your differentiation.
Is that a matter of finding your niche, like taking the time to find your niche, if any?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you don't, it's hard to be a generalist and all things to everyone as a mortgage broker. And as Paul Wright said, and Julian, gone are the days of transactional broking. So people want to understand what are you really good at.
Yeah, because I feel that's the difference between any mortgage broker and a good mortgage broker. Is like any mortgage broker or any lender will, here's a loan, walk away sort of thing. But a good mortgage broker will move with you as your goals evolve and your lifestyle changes. So I think, if anything, that's part of the value add that mortgage brokers provide in general. How do you see the relationship between a financial planner and a mortgage broker adding value to the end client?
Huge amount of value. And full disclosure, in a previous life, I used to be an advisor or financial planner.
We won't hold that against
you. It's more or less, look, I see the value particularly in wealth creation as well as wealth protection, especially in wealth protection. And we are a country where by default, we love debt. We love taking out a mortgage to go and buy a home because it's either not attainable or that's just the way that Australia is, right, as far as how to acquire a property. So in short, a lot of people have that intrinsic need or that need to go and buy something, but they don't plan for what happens in the event that they can't work or in the event that something goes wrong. So as far as I'm concerned, to have a look or a review of what happens in those situations and how are you going to be financially covered, or how does that impact your family and everybody around you, that's where a financial planner 100% plays a role. And look, whether I should be promoting this or not, I do believe you need to go and see a financial planner directly, because a lot of the times you see these advertisements on television that say you can get insurance for X, Y, and Z. But from my previous history, undertaking a full assessment on what you require, as well as being fully underwritten, i.e. there's a process that you go through the insurer to make sure you've done your checks and balances and disclosed anything that you've got as far as a health concern. You want to make sure that in the event that there is a claim, that your plan will come to fruition, i.e. that it will pay out.
You're absolutely spot on, Matty, because most of these policies will just do a surface level underwriting, but come at claim time, they'll go, oh, but you missed X, Y, and Z, sorry, can't exactly pay you. So it's very, very important with the underwriting piece.
Yeah, and maybe same question for you as well, Ray. Like we talked about the relationship between mortgage broker and financial planner, but what about on the other side of the fence between a financial planner and a mortgage broker with their client? How does that value add relationship help the end client?
Look, immensely. I think ultimately what we're doing is we're both working to the benefit of the client. The idea is, like I said in the previous podcast, you put the client at the center of everything that we do. What are their goals and objectives around the strategy of them wanting to grow their wealth? How do they want to do it? Again, completely irrelevant around the underlying asset side, whether it could be the property, whether it could be shares, super, what have you. So ultimately, it's about just crafting out a strategy as clients' lifestyles changing and working out the best possible tax structures, super structures, insurance structures, protection piece, aligning all of those goals and values, and then creating the wealth for the client. So it just goes both ways. But also, if there is any change to the client situation, brokers aware, advisors aware, and then you're working for the common purpose, which is the client.
And I think that's the biggest difference between working with a financial service professional and then just doing things yourself as well. I use the comparison, like when you're looking to get a meal, just going to the supermarket and buying, a frozen microwave meal, or getting a catered meal to your diet and requirements. This is the difference between, doing things yourselves and engaging a financial service professional to put you in a better position, if anything. Julian, I got a question for you. If, let's say, for example, I'm looking at getting into the industry as a mortgage broker, what challenges challenges do you feel those looking at making a move are going to encounter?
It's a good question, and it depends on whether they're a banker, so they've got lending experience, or they're new to industry. So we'll start off with new to industry. So new to industry very much, first of all, they've got to go through a qualification process, get cert for or diploma. But the challenge for them is, do they have capital behind them to start a business, number one? Are they driven? Are they psychologically ready to start their own business? Because quite often you get people that are in a job that think it's easy to, I know someone who's a broker, they make lots of money, I want to do it too. And it's not easy. So, and the challenge for the new to industry is, okay, great, you've got your qualification. How are we going to find your customers? And that's where, we come in and we work with them, but you got to have a bit of mongrel in you. You need to have a bit of hustle in you. It's not easy, right? So for new to industry, it's more around where am I going to get my customers and what support network do I have around me to help me grow? With the bankers, it's different again. So the bankers no lending, but again, running a business and being self-employed. So, you go from, whatever your salary is at a bank, coming into self-employed as you experienced, right?
Absolutely, Julian.
And all of a sudden, you've got no income coming in, right? So preparation from the banker's perspective, I find, make sure you've established your referral networks before you leave the bank. Make sure you've got some plans in place. And when you do start your business, it's not taking you 6 months to get your referrals coming in. So planning and preparation is really, really important before you start the business. And then customer acquisition is key. Obviously, on the product knowledge side, the lenders typically pick it up quite easily because they understand product. And with the new to industry, having a phenomenal mentor is key. And we work with a number of really good mentors in the industry. And we've seen some, we've got some people in hospitality used to be in hospitality, that run phenomenal brokerages. So you don't have to come from a lending background, but the challenge is generally capital behind you and customer acquisition.
I've heard that from a lot of business mentors, actually, that the first rule of business is find your customer first. And a lot of people I know all the systems, I know the workflow, all that sort of stuff, but they haven't put any effort into, as you said, customer acquisition. How does MoneyQuest in particular help with those particular challenges that you mentioned there?
Yeah, good question. So we have an online education platform. We call it e-Academy. And within the e-Academy, we have a series of marketing tools that help people build relationships with accountants, financial planners, real estate agents, solicitors, conveyancers. They still have to essentially do the work themselves, but we've got scripts on what to say when they ring these people, like really good guidance. And we generally do coaching with them all, around the scripts so they feel comfortable when they make the calls. So that's one aspect of it. So our CEO loves it. He runs a referral partner marketing program, and it's quite funny. He's very, very strict on the program. He does it every 3 months. And if you don't follow you're really challenged in it. And if you don't follow the program, you're asked to leave the program. So again, for those who want to be pushed and driven, we have lots of tools. Paul Wright runs some phenomenal training programs around customer acquisition. So, we're quite supportive. And Simon Dean in our organisation runs a fortnightly business development workshop. And he brings people in from different walks of life talking. It's all about what do you need to do to generate business. So that's the sort of mindset that we operate within.
And what part do you see the referral partnership between a financial planner and a mortgage broker play in generating business?
Huge. Again, not only is it the right thing for the customer, because you're looking after the customer's long-term goals and life, but you can help build each other's businesses. And the way I look at it, in this industry, you can have a referral partner and sometimes, commission shared between referral partners. And I go, you know what? Take that aside. Forget about that. If you both focus on the customer and provide the most incredible experience for the customer, you're both going to win, or both referral partners are going to win, because those customers will be your biggest advocates in refer business.
They are your referral partners.
But 100%.
Right?
So 100%.
You create that piece of the advocacy, they become your referral partner, they'll refer you endless amount of clients.
100%.
And it gets to the point where a lot of mortgage brokers, they don't metricate how well their business is doing by the number of, or the amount of money that they've settled. They metricate by the number of first homes purchased. Even in financial planning circles, we have our financial planners receive photos or invites to weddings and birthdays and, hey, I've just taken a retirement holiday thanks to you, sort of thing. And they're the metrics, I think, if any, that a business should rate themselves on as well. I wanted to pull it back maybe a little bit, maybe for yourself, Matthew. What trends are you noticing within the mortgage mortgage broking industry?
I think there's a lot of, look, the trends that I'm seeing now, there's a lot of newer entrants into the broker market, whether they're coming from banking into broking, whether they're coming from different industries because they feel it's very lucrative. But aside from that, there's obviously social media that has a large role to play in that, as far as being an Instagram star or a TikTok star. So I'm seeing a lot of people or brokers try and adopt that and maybe give, I wouldn't say financial advice because it's very, very, you got to be very careful, obviously. But I'm seeing a lot of these brokers come online and saying this is how you buy your first house, or this is what you need to do, and then translate that back into a business referral to them. But on the flip side, within existing brokerages or businesses now, it's the adoption of ChatGPT, AI, streamlining processes and workflows, even maybe niches as far as going away from being a generalist and into a specialist. So say somebody who wants to focus on first home buyers, someone who wants to focus on alternative lending, someone who wants to start focusing and be known for commercial lending. So it's all those types of trends that I am currently seeing in the market right now. And it does vary depending upon the economic environment and obviously what we're going to see in the next future.
And I wanted to touch on social media as well, because as a result of AI and finfluencers, and there's a lot of misinformation out there available on social media. Apart from dance moves, what sort of what part do you feel mortgage brokers have to play in social media?
That's a great dancer.
No. I think it's to create or prompt an awareness. It's not necessary to give the advice. It's to give the thought process, and then maybe create a channel or a pathway to a specialist, be it with that person who's directly undertaking the social media, i.e. the person who's acting, or is it to prompt an idea to say, well, my cousin's a broker, or I know there's a broker down the road, maybe I'll go and see them off the back of seeing this on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it may be.
Well, it's interesting. Within our network, we've got a handful of very large social media, I don't know if they're influencers, but they've got a very large social media presence, and they generate a lot of inquiry through social media. And that's across multiple platforms. And the one thing that I can see that's consistent across all of them is their consistency so they post twice a day. Yeah. They don't necessarily do the posts every day. They schedule a time, but they then have them scheduled throughout the week. They're educating people. So they're not selling at all. They're not selling. They're just educating. And so they're building funnels, and they're actually getting people booking in. And it's quite interesting. The ones that are really focusing on the social media to generate their inquiry, by the time people book in, and it's all done through funnels and automated, they kind of know who they're dealing with because they've seen video content. So the drop-off rates are next to zero. So we have a gentleman who actually lives in Bali 10 months of the year, and he basically he does all his interviews via Zoom, and he has a team both here in Australia and offshore, but provides incredible service to his clients, and they're very sticky.
And that's what we see. A lot of people will go to social media as not as a trigger, but as a way to understand you, build rapport, and verify you as well. So one of the things I found with social media is that a client will go to social media and say, have they got relevant content that meets my needs? And have they got up-to-date content as well? And they use that to verify you. Oh yeah, Julian, Matt, they know what they're talking about. Ray knows what he's talking about. I'll give him a call there. So they almost use it as a verification process more than they will a trigger or a lead generation tool to get them in there. And I feel that's very important as well, especially as we see as financial advisors, or maybe Ray as a financial advisor. What are the misconceptions that you see people bring to the table from social media in that initial conversation especially?
Look, I think from a financial planning side, I think it's the strategies that they've learned from a finfluencer who may not be right person to be providing advice on financial planning. So we do see a lot of misconceptions, and that's quite dangerous because you're now trying to sort of unwind that whole conversation piece and explain the right way as to how certain things work. So it can be quite dangerous, but I think it's the key part that sort of goes to it is educating the clients to ensure that they know the strategy they're talking about is the right strategy for them.
Yeah, 100%. And I've got a story that I tell as well around, I was 15, 16 years old. I'd saved a couple grand, whatever it was. And I had just learnt about bonds and debentures in high school. And so I walked into my bank and I said, I want to invest in a bond. And then after the laughter subsided, they quietly pointed me towards the financial planner's office. But it's all about that education piece as well. They want to see, client scenarios. They want to see, essentially education, if anything. So people need to be educated. And I really feel that mortgage brokers, financial planners play a role in educating people into home ownership as well, especially. So look, Julian, Matthew, really appreciate your time. What is coming up next, particularly for the New South Wales ACT region, Matthew, that MoneyQuest can look forward to?
Exciting times. Look, we've got a couple of new groups coming on, larger groups that are probably well known in New South Wales. We've got some new entries as far as within the MoneyQuest franchising network as well. So look, that's all exciting because of course it grows the footprint, tells the story, promotes the word. So I think it's going to be a snowball effect from there on onwards, and obviously with the group initiatives and any strategies that may be coming up, we'll start to roll that out within the state. But really, right now, it's trying to focus on the partners that we work with. So be it Ryker, be it MFAA, FBAA, TAFE New South Wales, and trying to tell our stories to those people as well.
And congratulations, Julian, on the acquisition of Keelan. I think that was quite a significant acquisition you guys had.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Look, Chris Burns, I've known for many years. He's a phenomenal operator, and he's remaining as the CEO, although he's on an 8-week journey at the moment around Europe. But incredible business, wonderful group of brokers within their organisation, and looking forward to working with the Keelan team. And for any of your viewers out there, if you're based in Sydney, well, actually anywhere really, but if you're based in Sydney in particular, and you're you're a large group, but would love to, if there's an aging demographic in our industry, and so looking at exit strategies for some of these businesses, would love to have a chat.
Wonderful,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, gents, for your time. Really
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
The information provided in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as personal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional or expert in the relevant field for personalised advice tailored to your specific situation.
If you enjoy the content we bring you on the Wealth Guide podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe and share with your community. Let's grow this community together and make financial literacy accessible to all.